Have you ever wanted to sketch or draw something and nothing seems to inspire you? That happens to me sometimes. So I found a solution to this. I went to ChatGPT and asked for 20 or more subjects on a theme. And the theme is homey, cottage, that kind of warm feeling, a little bit romantic, those kind of spaces that we all love, and scenes that really inspire. I got 20 of those, and then of course it asks if it can tweak or whatever, and I asked for images of a few of them. And this one is not one. I got this from Pixabay, but these other three are images that were created in ChatGPT, and I'm just thrilled with them. I can't obviously do them all right now, but I have material that I can use for creating art and design or whatever from now on until I've used them all. So what I'm doing is this one here, and I'm just going to fold this so that it's not too distracting. And what I've done already is just sketch in pencil the boots, because they're a little bit more challenging and I wanted to get them right, and I think they're good enough. It's full of flowers, which I've only just barely sketched in. So I'm going to first ink it in. I've mentioned that I want my work to be a little looser. I'm not looking for perfection. I want it to have a little bit more character. And one of the ways that I'm doing that is to make the lines just a little bit sketchier. So rather than solid black lines, to just have them a little bit broken. You see what I mean? And a little bit wiggly. And the more I do this, the more I like it. So that's something that you can try if it appeals to you. The other reason that I want to create art this way is because I don't really have extremely steady hands, I've found. If I really hold my muscles and everything, I can certainly do a nice firm line. I want my art to be fun for me. I don't want to knock myself out to try and get a perfect line. I'd rather have a different look. Now the flowers I haven't really put in, so I just put 3 little splotches just to kind of place them. And then I'm going to just wing it. So before I start painting, I'm going to erase my pencil lines. And I use this kind of eraser. It's a kneaded eraser. Kneaded as you like knead bread. Because it doesn't make any crumbs and it doesn't rough up the surface of the paper. So I'm going to get my paints open here. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that I just leave my paint in the palette here, so it's reusable. Okay, let's get that out of there. Don't need that anymore. All right, where's my favorite brush? This is currently my favorite brush. I want pink. And I think I know what pink I want. So these are Kuretake paints. I have a link below for you to find them on Amazon. And my daughter bought me this set, and then I found that one on Amazon, and it was like a pretty good deal. They are quite expensive, but they're really nice, and they have colors that you don't see everywhere. Now then, I just want to double check my color here. This is what I want. Well, the color in the picture is not quite the same as that. It is softer. That means it has more yellow in it. Where should I put this? Just put it there. All right, I'm going over to this side now. And I've got some pink here already, which is pretty close to the right color. I think it needs a little bit of warming up. Let's put some of this in it. This is Jaune Brillant, which is French for brilliant yellow. It's neither brilliant nor really yellow, if you ask me, and it's a little bit opaque. If you want your paint really to look transparent, that will actually take some of that away. So for that reason, I'm not going to just paint over the black lines. I'm going to paint around them. That will leave a little bit of white, which is great. I'm okay with that. We need more water in this. I think these boots, because they have all these flowers, have to be farm girl boots, not farm boy boots. Or they just could be rain boots for people who live where there's a lot of rain, like where I live, near the west coast of Canada. And today we actually had sunshine, which is a nice little surprise, and it warmed up and it's actually feeling like spring. I went to a dollar store for something and I found a little sign that says "Welcome Spring" and had some flowers on it. I hung it on my front door because I like decorating my house and I like changing that picture on the sign on the front door with the seasons, because I think it's just fun and it's attractive, and why not? There are lots of things that I do that are simply inspired by why not. So this is really quite a good color here, but I'm running out of it. My daughter just recently went to Japan for a little jaunt, and I asked her if she could get me some permanent ink for my fountain pen, which she gave me. And she said, as it turned out, she couldn't because it just wasn't available, or she couldn't find it, or she wasn't in the right place, whatever. I'm just going to put pink in these roses because I think it's appropriate, and probably some yellow splashed here and there just to look like there's little yellow flowers in here. See how simple this is? And then we want some purple for the lavender. This is permanent violet. Just going to check it because there's permanent violet. That's pretty good. And there's ultramarine violet. Well, there's a tough choice. I think the first one is a little bit more lavender, not quite so bright. I need a smaller brush for this, so I'm going to use this one. Because if I have too much water on the brush, it just makes blobs of color. So I'm ad-libbing a little bit here and painting where there are no lines. That is, I haven't drawn it first. And then I want yellow for the daisies, which there's sort of a dark yellow. Let's go with this one instead. Actually, they're a little bit darker than that, kind of orangey. There's an orange blob. Well, that'll make them pretty bright, but that's okay. Oh yeah, I like the orange better. And then we can attack the green. And I'm going to use this green, which is called Your Guess is Good as Mine. Because I'm going to say this is more of a fall bouquet, because the daisies are kind of later in the season. And I'm not painting the daisies because they're white, and I want them to just stand out against the background. So in all these spaces amongst the scribbles, I'm going to pop in green, and I'll go back in with some darker green as well. This is pretty tiny stuff, which is why if you're doing this, you need a kind of a range of brushes. This one is size 4, which is great for small things. I think it's one of the best. But it depends. If your brush has a really good point on it, you can go with a lot larger, but for this kind of fine work, I find just a little brush is good. That's pretty much how I had in mind. You know you're a success when what you paint is what you hope to paint. Now that's not a hard and fast rule, I just kind of made it up. But it does make you feel good when you actually achieve what you were trying to do. We've got some shadow here on these boots, so maybe I'll put some of that in just to give it a little bit more dimension. I've got this pot of gray, sort of gray, purple gray. What I'm going to do is just put water in here. And then with this paint in my brush, I'll just go along the side here. There, that does work. All right, I'm going to do it with the same brush along in here. Just make sure it doesn't get on the other boot. See how it just blooms out? It's one of the tricks with watercolor you kind of have to figure out. I take all the water out of my brush. Now I'm going to just kind of pick up this edge because I don't want it to the dry edge here. But watercolor moves around, and sometimes it does its own thing, and sometimes it's like, you don't know what's going to happen, but the more you use it, the more you know what to do about it. Okay, I'm going to do one more thing here, and that is I've got a little bit of purple over here. Let me just show you. A little bit of purple here, a little bit of blue here. Just mixing them together. Put a bit more water in there. Take some off. I'm just going to put some little lines in the petals here. Now I could have done this with the pen, would have been totally fine, but I think I like this little effect better. It's like a little shadow. What do you think? Is this the kind of work you'd like to do and would like to see me do? The choices are endless. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.